The bench by the lake. The first time Daniel noticed the old man was on a grey Tuesday morning, the kind that hovered somewhere between spring and still winter. The bench by Willow Lake sat empty most of the year, weathered, wooden, and lopsided, except now, a man with a cane and a flat cap sat there with a thermos of something steaming and a calmness that didn't belong to the hustle of the city just beyond the trees. Daniel was 27, overworked and unsatisfied. He came to the lake only when he wanted to scream into the wind without judgment. That first day, the old man nodded politely as Daniel passed. The second day, the old man asked, "What are you running from?" Daniel blinked. "Excuse me?" People don't walk like that unless they're running from something. You stomp, then you float, then you sink. He turned back to the water. Daniel hesitated, then sat on the far end of the bench, arms crossed. "I'm not running." The old man didn't argue. He only sipped his drink and nodded. "Suit yourself. Name's Eli." Daniel. From that day on, Daniel walked to the lake more often. Sometimes Eli would speak, other days they just sat in silence, watching the ducks glide in meditative ripples. On the fifth meeting, Eli said, "So, what is it?" "What's what?" "What is it that's breaking you?" Daniel scoffed. "Nothing's breaking me." "Then why do you sit like you're hoping the bench will swallow you?" Daniel stared ahead. "I hate my job." "Then quit." "It's not that simple. There's rent, expectations. I worked so hard for that degree." Eli nodded slowly. "And if a train heads the wrong direction, do you let it keep going just because it costs you fuel to start it?" Daniel said nothing. Eli had rules. He wouldn't answer a question unless Daniel truly wanted the answer. "You have to ask," he'd say, "or it's just noise in the wind." One morning, after another sleepless night, Daniel asked, "Were you ever lost?" Eli smiled. "I was a ship with no anchor for years." "Then what changed?" "I met a man who told me I was aiming at borrowed dreams. Said if I kept chasing someone else's version of success, I'd miss the joy meant for me." Daniel shifted. "What does that even mean?" "It means sometimes we wear suits stitched from other people's patterns and wonder why they don't fit." Daniel exhaled. "So I'm not crazy for feeling empty." "No," Eli said gently. "You're just waking up." Daniel found himself bringing Eli coffee some mornings, sitting longer, talking more. He started writing again, just scribbles in a notebook, things he hadn't done since college. His job still drained him, but the lake became a kind of battery. And Eli became the kind of compass Daniel didn't know he needed. One rainy afternoon, Daniel showed Eli a short story he wrote. Eli read it slowly, twice. "You have a voice, Daniel, and it's not pretending to be someone else's. That's rare." "Doesn't matter. It won't pay the bills." "Yet." Daniel blinked. "You really think I could make something of it?" "I think the only thing stopping you is fear dressed as practicality." As summer unfolded, Eli shared more. He once wanted to be a painter, spent years in an office instead. Safe job, good benefits, rising up the ladder, but his hands itched every day. After his wife died, he started painting again. Now, he sold art at weekend markets and painted in the mornings by the lake. He didn't live large, but he lived light. "I lost a lot of years," he admitted one morning, "but regret is a teacher too." Daniel asked, "Do you think it's too late for me?" Eli laughed. "You're 27. You're not late. You're just early enough to start." One afternoon, a girl passed by. She wore a messenger bag, earbuds in, moving fast. She tripped on a root near the trail, dropped her books, and muttered a frustrated curse. Eli rose before Daniel could react. He helped her gather her things, asked her name, and handed her a small sketch of a bird in flight. "Don't let the fall fool you," Eli said. "You're meant to soar." She looked at him like he was strange, but she smiled anyway. As she left, Daniel said, "You always talk like that." Eli chuckled. "Life's too short to speak without meaning." Later that week, Daniel confessed something deeper. "My dad never told me he was proud of me. I don't think I've done anything worth being proud of." Eli placed a hand on his shoulder. "That's not your burden to carry. Pride isn't something you earn. It's something people choose to give. Sometimes they just don't know how, but you can start by giving it to yourself." Daniel's eyes burned. "How?" "Forgive yourself for not knowing sooner. Then promise you won't waste what you know now." The last day they spoke, Eli handed Daniel a small envelope. "I'm going away for a while. Doctor says I need some tests. I don't think I'll be back. Soon." Daniel felt the panic rise. Wait, tests? What's wrong? Eli smiled. Just a body acting like it's older than it is. Happens. They sat in silence for a long time. Then Eli said, "Open it when you feel stuck." Not before. Daniel hugged him, awkwardly, stiffly, but it meant something. "Thank you," Daniel said. Eli grinned. "For what?" "For sitting on a bench and being you." Eli never returned. Daniel checked for weeks. The bench stayed empty. Eventually, he opened the envelope. Inside was a handwritten note. "You are not meant to survive life. You are meant to live it. Stop asking permission to be yourself. Create, love, fall, get up, repeat. If you're scared, good. It means you're close to something real." Eli. There was also a key taped to the bottom and an address written beneath. One last thing. Daniel stood outside a tiny art studio on the edge of town. Inside were dozens of Eli's paintings, bold colors, abstract shapes, portraits that looked like they breathed. And on a corner table sat a folder labeled "For Daniel." Inside, a full manuscript, Eli's memoir. Each chapter titled with a piece of wisdom he'd shared by the lake. A note clipped to the front. "You said you wanted to write something true. Help me share this. It's yours now." Daniel wept. The first publisher passed on it. The second offered polite praise, but no deal. The third said, "It's touching, but not commercial." Daniel almost gave up, but Eli's words haunted him. "If you're scared, good." He self-published the book. He gave away free copies at libraries and coffee shops. He read excerpts at open mics, in schools, at retirement homes. People listened. Some cried, some smiled. Some stayed after to talk about their own Eli. 2 years later, the book, The Bench by the Lake, Lessons from a Quiet Mentor, reached modest success, then unexpected acclaim. Daniel left his job. He didn't get rich, but he got full. He started hosting writing workshops, helping others find their voices. He traveled to lakes and cafes and schools, telling stories of an old man with kind eyes who once said, "If you're scared, good." He painted again, too, badly, but with joy. He kept the bench clean. People said a young man came to sit there sometimes, with a thermos in hand and a notebook in his lap. He waits, not for Eli, but for someone who looks like they might need to ask a question. And when they do, he answers, "Only if you want to know."